Hello, once again, one and all, and welcome back to Conquest of Azeroth, and welcome to the first of the level 60 videos. Oh, this taking too long to get to this, so I'm gonna try to keep this sweet and simple without dragging it on too long. How does the class feel? It feels good. Leveling is fun. You're pretty much a strength stamina class, so leveling isn't super hard to gear. You deal good damage. You have good defensives, which I've already talked about in the level 30 video. But after level 30, the class really kind of comes into its own. You get access to, things like Burning Rage, you get access to Hellfire Charge, which is like which is basically your Knight's Charger ability, your Paladin's Charger ability, which is good. Your demons, you get Demon Skin, which causes your Demon's Blood to increase your armor. You get more finesse, and then what I took, you also get more crit after here, which is you Taskmaster for extra crit chance. These two choices for picking either or are really just PvP choices. As you can see, they literally just have to deal with keeping you from getting CC to movement locked. Dismember's great for reducing healing, which is good for PvP and PvE because I found a lot of mobs, especially as you get to the higher level dungeons, will heal each other. Rage of Xoroth causes your critical strikes to increase your attack speed by 50%. And then this Dread is the best ability I've seen so far in the class tree. Basically, what it does is it causes your damage to have a 50% chance to grant you a stack of Dread, which at 10 stacks causes your Infernal Strike, not your Meat Saw, to transform into Annihilation. What Annihilation does is it hits up 10 enemies in front of you in a cone for a chunk of damage and generates 6, not 4, Demon Fire. Deals 20% increased damage if you were above 75% health or below 35% health. So this does a huge amount of damage and it scales with your Infernal Strike's modifier. Other things you can grab in this tree once you get down here are Heart of Xoroth for more Demon's Blood stacks, Brute Strength for more crit strike damage, which is really good, but unfortunately, it's more PvP orientated with the increased range of Chains and Malice, Flesh Hook, and Chain Whip. I would still take it if it wasn't for the fact I couldn't take Dread. You can get Harbinger of Pestilence, which this is really good. But because of where it is, I can't take it, because again, Dread's better. If this was over by Dread, I would actually take it. Chain Warden basically just causes your Chains of Malice to have a reduced cooldown and causes your Flesh Hook and Chain Whip to grab 2 additional nearby targets near your primary target and drag them to you. Really good. Cerinthian Sigil sucks. It basically is a Death Knight's... I need to slow down. It's basically a Death Knight's anti-magic bubble. It's really only useful in PvP and certain raids. The class feels good. Strong single target, strong AoE across all 3 specs, good defensive, good self-healing. It is just an all-around really good class. A lot of people like to say it's overpowered, and yes, it is stupidly strong if you know how to play it. But there are classes that are very much stronger than it. I'm looking at you, barbarians. Don't think I don't see you in the corner with your stupid movement. I'll get into that. I'll bitch about that in the barbarian video when I finally get to it. But getting into the spec tree, we're gonna look at war. We're gonna start with the talent tree. You got Crusher at level 10, Ripper at level 20, Carver at level 30, and then at level 40 and 50 you get Render, which increases your melee haste based off your strength, and then you get Knight of Apocalypse, which causes your Unleashed Pestilence to get 2 uses every 30 seconds, pretty much. Really great ability. Pairs well with what comes after level 30, which, of course, you get Brutal Swings, unless you went for it straight after getting Burning Blade. You got Hands of Doom, Conqueror's Will, which increases your critical strike, and it also causes enemies you crit strike to take more damage. It also increases critical strike chance of the party. Hellborn causes your Demon's Blood stacks to have a chance to release a Pestilence at half strength for free for every generated stack. This is really good. It helps automate your unleashes. Chop Shop causes each stack of Demon's Blood to increase the critical strike chance of your Sever and Meat Saw and your Brimstone Bludgeon, which I will talk about here when I get to it. Domination Causes your melee critical strikes to now reduce the cooldown of Burning Blade by 1%, by 1 second, which given the amount of times you're going to crit once you reach max level, this is really good, and you can definitely feel how useful it is. Hook, Line, and Sinker reduces the chain cooldown of your Chain Whip and Flesh Hook. Good for PvP, not for PvE so much. A Demonic Frenzy causes your Brimstone, Bludgeon, and Sever to increase the attack speed by 20% for 10 seconds, and casting Gore extends the duration of this by 3 seconds. Really good ability to have. I would definitely take it. Jagged Edge increases your rage generated by 20%. I would definitely take this before you hit level 58. Once you hit level 58, I would switch over to Knight of Pestilence for the increased damage to your pestilences. And then getting into the next lineup, and we'll get to why that's better here in a second. The Butcher causes your meat saws to increase their damage dealt of subsequent meat saws by 10%, and reduces their global cooldown. Its global cooldown by 5% for 10 seconds, and it stacks up to 10 times, or 50% increased damage and 25% global cooldown reduction. This is good, but what comes next is infinitely better. Brimstone Bludgeon. It turns your Sever into Brimstone Bludgeon. Brimstone Bludgeon costs... Oh, they fixed it! It no longer costs Rage. It cost Rage before they fixed it. Cool. It no longer costs Rage, but it generates Demon Fire. It has a 15-second cooldown, as you can see, which kind of sucks. But it basically turns your Sever into an AoE that does a good chunk of damage. It hits all enemies. It has no upper limit of enemies it can hit. What it also does is when you use it, causes you to unleash a full-powered Pestilence. If you are using Pestilence of War or Pestilence of Death, that's just automated self-healing or automated massive amounts of damage. Really, really good. Which is why you want to take this, and you want to take Pestilence Unbound, which causes your Demon Fire abilities when used at 6 stacks, which you only want to ever use your Demon's Fire stacks when they're at 6 anyways, to unleash a half-strength Pestilence. This, plus Hellborn, means you're basically just almost constantly letting off Pestilences every few seconds. Then you have Blood Frenzy, which causes your Demon Fire abilities when they're used above 4 stacks to give you back a free stack. Not as good as it sounds. Because literally using Gore, or using, Infernal Strike or Meat Saw, you get just 2 stacks. So, 3 casts of either one of those, and you get a free stack back. You basically can do it 3 times when you're at full stacks. Or Gore, when it crits, can do the exact same damn thing. So this isn't really useful. The bottom lineup, which I haven't taken any of, are Demonic Blade, which causes any abilities that spend Demon Fire to now increase the damage and cost of your next 2 Gores by 25% for 12 seconds. And at the end of the duration, or when you use all the stacks, you cast a free Meat Saw. This would pair well with the Butcher, but I prefer a Brimstone Bludgeon. Gorged is a trap if you take Brimstone Bludgeon. Gore now heals you for 50% of the damage it deals over 3 seconds. This is good. Gives you a stack of Gorged. At 3 stacks, your next Brimstone Bludgeon will consume the stack to reach an additional 200% of the damage it's dealt by it from up to 5 enemies, basically double dipping in its AoE and self-healing you for a crap ton. It also causes it to be cast an additional time for free. This is great. The downside? It adds 12 seconds to your cooldown. It's already a 15-second cooldown. This literally turns it into a 27-second cooldown. It's not worth it. It's a trap. Don't make the same mistake I did, please, I beg of you. If you stay with Sever and you go with the Butcher and Demonic Blade, or over here with Hell Knight, which unfortunately, no matter what ability you take, you can't take this. So it's kind of useless. That's sad. Honestly, I would actually put this here and put this over here somewhere. Or put it down here, I guess. Because then you can at least use it with Hell Knight, or hell, you could even use it over here with the Butcher, but where it is now, it's a trap. The last ability is Hell Knight. While above 75% health, all physical damage dealt will grant a stack of Hell Knight, which increases your movement speed and global cooldown reductions. Global cooldowns reduced by 5%. And it also stacks your physical damage and crit strike by 1%, and these stacks up to 5 times for each of those. Really good in a really bad spot. War does superb single target AoE damage. It is not the best, but it feels so good. Pairing Brimstone Bludgeon and everything else you can do with Burning Blades, you are dealing a metric crap ton of AoE damage at all times. There are classes that can out DPS you, I will not argue this, but it is a good class. It does strong AoE, strong single target, it's strong defensively. It's a good spec. It is the best spec out of all of them to play. Its downsides in PvP kind of are the class downside across the board. It's slow, its only movement speed abilities are its mounted abilities, and they're not really useful in the middle of PvP. Your chains are great, but if you're fighting a class like a Barbarian, a Starcaller, a Primalist, or a Tinkerer, they can just escape you stupidly easy, and there's nothing you can do about it. Even when using your chains. Pestilence of Famine and Pestilence of Conquest are really good in PvP, but normally you'll want to stick with Pestilence of War, because with Pestilence of War and, Brimstone Bludgeon and all your free casts of your Pestilences, your self-healing will be so intense that you are very hard to kill unless you are outnumbered like 2-1 or 3-1. If you're one-on-oneing, unless the enemy has a good amount of stuns, silences, or can lock you down enough to keep you from being able to heal, you'll win through attrition. You don't deal superb. You do not deal insane damage, but you are a juggernaut, which is what I think this class should feel like. And I'm sure there are some people that could agree. You're slow, you're tanky, and you hit like a truck. Moving on from War, we're going to take a look at Hellfire. Hellfire is the quote-unquote caster version of Xoroth. And I say caster because you need intellect. Why do you need intellect? Because abilities like Seeking Flame, Hellmaw, and Hellstorm scale off of your spell power too. They have better spell power scalings. So you'll want intelligence to stack that scaling. It also affects your Apocalypse, I think. After level 30, you will get your hands on the talents of Indiscriminate, which causes your Seeking Flame to spread Hellmaw and Melt up to three enemies within 6 yards. And I Melt, because I forgot to talk about it beforehand. Basically reduces the enemy's armor per stack of Demon Fire. Really good ability to have, and a lot of stuff in Hellfire interacts with it, which is kind of nice. Infernal Blast increases your critical strike damage against burning targets, and considering you want targets to be burning at all times, this is kind of a must for extra damage. Infernal Pummeling causes your Melt to now increase the damage that enemies take from your Skull Taker and Flames of Xoroth. This is also really good. The dual... Oh, God. 1 second, let me fix the super light here. Alright, back, sorry. Sometimes the game has a massive lag issue and I have to reload my UI. Where the fuck was I? Oh yeah, I was here talking about these two. The double choice here is Zorinthian Empowerment, which increases the attack power of all raid members and party members within by 5%. This is actually kind of good, but eh. Hellbringer in just flat increases the flat damage by 3%. Also, both of these are really good, but I just did not take them. Infernal Pursuit increases your melee haste by 6% and reduces the duration of root effects against you by 30%. I might swap this out eventually because I think these two are going to be better. The next lineup is Partners in Flames, which causes your Greater Imp to now have a 25% chance to increase your damage dealt by 5% for 10 seconds, or Unbound Inferno, which causes your infernal strikes against enemies affected by your Hellmaw or Flames of Xoroth to now blast nearby enemies for 130 damage. This is a really good AoE thing. I would definitely take this over this. I need to talk about that one. Then you have a dual choice of Brimstone Flames. Damage dealt by Seeking Flames is increased by 20% on enemies affected by a Pestilence of Apocalypse, and it increases the damage by 10% per each active Demon Fire you have. Or you have Brimstone Splinters, which causes Seeking Flames to generate have a 30% chance to generate an additional Demon Fire when it deals damage. And this chance to trigger is increased by 5% for each Demon Fire you have, which means the more Demon Fire you have, the more of a chance it has to trigger. But I think that should be the lower your higher your demon chance, the lower your demon fire, the better the chance should be. That's just me. And then you have Shadow Flame Forge, which just increases your duration of your Hellmaw's dot by 6 seconds. Hellmaw into the Maw causes your Hellmaw to unleash an explosion at the end of its duration, dealing damage to all nearby enemies equal to within 5 yards of the enemies that are explode. Deal to 50% of the damage dealt over its duration. This is kind of good, but I found something better. Punisher, which is honestly I feel a little better, increases the attack power and spell power scaling of Seeking Flame by 25%. That's just, flat. Hellstorm is not good. I think this should be in Defiance, really. It does a very low amount of damage, and basically what it does is when you use it, it bursts damage, and then puts an ability, a buff on you, which pulses damage every second, dealing, a little bit of damage. The duration is doubled for each stack of Demon Fire consumed. So at one for each, so at one Demon Fire, at 2 Demon Fire, it's 4 seconds. At 3 Demon Fire, it's 6 seconds, 8 seconds, 10 seconds, 12 seconds. It's not really worth it. It's really, really not worth it for damage. It sucks. As it for Hellfire. Ascended Warlock, when you use your Demon Fire at 6 stat, when you use your Skull Taker at 6 stacks of Demon Fire, it reduces the cooldown of Doom. In addition, while Doom is active, your Doom Guard will now copy your Skull Taker, dealing reduced damage. This seems kind of good, but personally, Fury of Xoroth is better for me. This is your best single target damage increase for the spec. Fury of Xoroth causes your Infernal Strike to now grant you a stack of Zorinthian Fury, which increases the crit chance of your next Skull Taker by 10%. And it stacks up to 3 times for a total of 30% increased extra crit chance, which basically just ensures a crit. Additionally, when using Skull Taker at 6 stacks of Demon Fire, which you always want to be doing anyways, it gives you Zorinthian Rage, which causes your next Infernal Strike within 10 seconds to be guaranteed as a critical strike. So basically, you could just easily farm guaranteed crit strikes with this. I feel this is better. This and this are the two go-tos I would pick between. Hellstorm just kind of sucks. The passives after level 30, if you want to read these real quick, go ahead. At 40, you get access to Impish Pestilence, which applies a lesser pestilence to your pet based off of which one you're using. A pestilence of pestilence increases the damage dealt by imps, and it allows its mana to regenerate faster while in combat. Famine. I'll just let you read these because there's a lot to go over. And then you have Evil Duel, which causes unleashing your pestilence causes your Grey Herb to do the exact same thing. So basically, you get to double dip on your pestilences. Again, it's kind of good, but it doesn't feel as good as War. Overall, Hellfire is great for AoE damage. Its single target damage is very lackluster. It's great for PvE dungeons and raids where you could just group up enemies and just smack them with all your AoE abilities. But really, it doesn't work very well for single target. And with Zorinthian Fury, it just marginally increases that. In PvP, again, it suffers the same issues as the class. It's slow. You can't lock down mobile classes very well, and its lack of single target damage means you really can't duel enemies. You're great in team fights, but in single target duels and taking on opponents alone, it doesn't really work. Early game, Hellfire is really good in PvP, but late game it really just falls off. I definitely enjoy Hellfire. I think it's unique. I just think it needs some more tuning because War is definitely overtuned compared to Hellfire. I think Hellfire needs to be buffed to bring it up to War's level. That's just me. I like having the imps. I think you should have more abilities in Hellfire that allow you to summon different demons outside of your imp. But again, that's just my opinion. Moving on from Hellfire, we're going to take a look at the last and final spec, which is going to be the tank spec, Defiance. Now, Defiance is really fun. It's for those that didn't watch the 30 video, it's a sword and board. A lot of its kit is centered around its block chance, because with this spec, every time you block, you have a chance to summon a Hellfire Imp for 12 seconds. This is great. At level 30, you get access to some really good abilities. You get access to Stoke the Flames. This causes your Skulltaker and Melt to reach fund 2 Demon Fire. And Skulltaker used with max stacks of Demon Fire also now deals 30% extra damage. This is really good for damage. But I focus more on being tanky. Yeah, I already talked about those. You have a dual choice of Speed Demon or Brimstone Knight. Speed Demon increases the causes your suffuse now increase your movement speed, which is kind of nice. But Brimstone Knight increases the fire damage you deal and increases enemies' damage. The spell damage enemies take by 10% for 50 seconds. So this is a really good way to debuff enemies for your party to deal extra damage. You got Chains of Xoroth, which is a very small AoE, which slows enemies and then drags them all to the center after a short period. Pestilent Retaliation. You have when you block, you have a chance to unleash a half strength 3 pestilence every 5 seconds. Once every 5 seconds. This is okay. It's not really super great, but it's okay. Forge Fiend's Bulwark. Successful blocks, parries, and dodges now have a 30% chance to enrage you, increasing your damage dealt. Again, this is really good for flat damage, but it's not much. Then in the next lineup, you have Brimstone Striker, which causes the damage is about by Stoke the Flames to reduce the cooldown of Sever and Juggernaut by 4 seconds, which okay. It affects your defensive CD, but it's still not really all that much. And then you get Hellfire Sieger, which doubles the absorption of your Black Shield while you're below 35% health. This is good, but again, it feels like there's other better things. A Demolisher causes your Flesh Hook and Chain Whip to now taunt enemies, reducing the physical damage you take by 5% for 10 seconds. This is really good. The double option here is Hellfire Bellows, which causes your Flames of Xoroth to turn into Hellfire Bellows, which basically you create a cone in front and behind you, dealing damage and reducing the cooldown of Chains of Xoroth. This one up here by 4 seconds per enemy hit. Again, this doesn't feel good. It reduces the damage, the cooldown for each Demon Fire you use when you use it, or but it does not feel. It doesn't feel good. I tried it. It doesn't feel good. I instead went with Black Skull Shield, which reduces the rage cost of Shield Gore, and it increases its damage. So extra damage. Then I put one talent into Demonic Grit, causes your summons to have 50% extra health and reducing their damage taken by 10%. This pairs really well with the Sacrificial Circle skill. I took Forge Fiends because Forge Fiends Bulwark also now increases your crit chance by 10%. Again, more crit even as a tank, which is hilarious. Hellwrath, I took your Demon's Blood stacks now an additional 5 times, which when you pair this with over here where I took Demon's Blood, now it stacks up to 20 times, making your defensive CDs really busted. But then I went with Curse of Xoroth. It is a single target dot with a 1.5 minute cooldown. 15 seconds, 2,000 damage. This is great. Where it really shines, your next shield wall within 12 seconds grants you a flag shield absorbing 1,400 damage. This is not a lot of absorption, but it is amazing for being really tanky in both PvE and PvP. Pairing this with keeping your Black Shield up when you need to, this really alleviates your need for you spending your defensives out of turn. This really helps you kind of rotate through them pretty simply. Fiery Retribution, every time a Hellfire Imp dies, it reduces the Sacrificial Circle cooldown by 2 seconds and Implosion by 1 second. Definitely take Implosion. This summons so many imps, and it does actually a really good amount of damage. And now we're going to get to an ability that I think should be in Hellfire. Call Hellfire Missile. I think this should be in Hellfire. This feels like, it sounds like it fits better into Hellfire. And Hellstorm should be over here. I think the ability should swap places because they seem better fitted for the each other's, for the different specs. You call down an abyssal, a Hellfire abyssal, which deals a huge chunk of damage in an 8-yard area, and it creates an aura which causes everyone in that aura to take 5% reduced damage. It also costs a 15% rage for each Hellfire Imp you have active. This is great for DPS, not so much for tanking. A Curse from Hell, periodic damage dealt now has a chance to reduce the cooldown of Curse of Xoroth. This chance is increased by 2% per stack of Demon Fire you have active. Again, this is really good, but I prefer having this for the extra defensives. And then you have Legion's Presence, which again, this is also a really good ability. Like all of these abilities right down here, this triangle abilities are all really good. Basically, you create an aura that reduces the damage taken. No, it increases the damage dealt by your party within 25 yards of you by 10%. And it also increases the Hellfire Imps damage by 150% and increases their health by 50%. Again, really good if you want to super buff your imps for more damage and make use of the Sacrificial Circle to keep yourself alive. But again, I feel like this is better for being tanky. Maybe that's just me. You have your Imp Aura. Each Hellfire Imp now reduces the magic damage you take by 1%. This is really good in PvE and PvP. And then you have level 50 Demonic Bulwark. Successful blocks now have a 30% chance to critically block for twice the normal amount. This chance is increased by 2% for each Hellfire Imp you have active. Defiance is a really fun tank spec. It's got a lot of AoE. It does respectable damage. Having an army of imps is kind of entertaining. You hold aggro fairly well because of your imps and all the damage you deal, or all the AoE damage you're dishing out. The imps help you hold aggro. It's really easy not to lose aggro, which is nice compared to other tanks. Your defensives may take some of the pressure off your healer to keep you alive, unless you do the cardinal sin of don't stand in the glowy shit. In PvP, you are very hard to kill. Like, you can wade into fights and just smack people around, but you won't kill them. You will not get killed. You'll be hard to kill, and you'll be a distraction, but you won't get kills. You're literally just a free kill for other classes when they gang up on you. It's fun to play if you have a healer in your pocket, or you're with other people who can deal more damage than you do. You can be the meat shield while they clean house behind you. So I would definitely say Defiance is viable in PvP. In raiding, I definitely see this spec in raiding being a really good tank to have, or having a Defiance tank as an off tank if they spec more into damage and don't have their threat aura on. So maybe they could be an off tank. I see that this is a really good tanking spec. Overall, I put Knight of Xoroth as an A tier class. It's really good, it's really simple to play, and it's easy to learn. Spec-wise, War sits at the top of A for me. Hellfire sits at lower A, and Hellfire sits at B because it needs work, and Defiance sits alongside War at A. The issues that this class has is pretty much just boils down to it needs more mobility, or ways to lock down very mobile targets in PvP. That's really what I feel needs to happen. Maybe give us an actual stun, give us an actual way to slow enemies outside of the pestilence, or nerf barbarians raging twirl, because the fact that they can spam that infinitely is asinine. I'm so salty at barbarian players. I want to play a barbarian eventually, but the more I have to deal with them in PvP, I really, really, really just, it pushes back that video further and further. I am a salty, petty little shit. Leave me alone. But I like this. I liked leveling Knight of Xoroth. The reason this video took so long to come out, it took me 3 full days of in-game time to get to level 60. That's over 70 hours. That's atrocious. At worst, it should take 50 to 50 hours at the worst to get to max level. At best, 30 hours. That's two levels an hour. The XP rate, once you get past level 30, it becomes a crawl. The dungeon XP and the PvP XP, which they did just nerf the PvP XP, so maybe now it feels better. But without heirlooms, without XP pots, without any way to boost your XP outside of rested XP and the in buff, it's a slog. And if you want to level quickly, here's my advice. A quest. Dungeon up to like level 50, and after level 50, dungeon and quest at the same time. Well, you want to be doing that to begin with, but once you hit level 50, you want to focus more on questing than dungeoning. Go out to Ternaris, go out to Eastern Plaguelands, go out to Western Plaguelands, go out to, just go have world scaling on and go do quests, because you will get more XP by doing quests in zones that have a good density of quests in one area than you will from doing dungeons. Doesn't help that also leveling up, you get the same dungeons again and again and again and again and again. If I never see another Scarlet Monastery or Wailing Caverns wing, it'll be too soon. I got those dungeons so much, and it drove me freaking batshit insane for the longest damn time. I killed the Blood Mage so many damn times. Literally, I got that specific wing of Scarlet Monastery more than anything else. I don't know why. It makes me mad thinking about it. Getting to max level, there's not much to do right now. Basically, you just do heroic dungeons. I think they're starting to add world bosses to fight. Oh god, my frame rate's dying again. Oh, no, it isn't. No, it is. Why is it dying? I don't know what's going on with my frame rate. It was fine a minute ago. Maybe I just need to stop looking up. Honestly, I had fun. I'm enjoying co-op very much still. I've already started working on my next class, which is going to be a Chronomancer. My cultist is sitting at level 35 currently. Hit a roadblock with that because the people I play with aren't playing currently, and I don't know if they're going to continue playing. I need to discuss that with them, because if they're not, I'm going to go back to leveling that up by myself and get that level 30 video out as soon as I freaking can. I've already got 2 of the clips for it. I just needed to get the tank spec, and we haven't played since then, which kind of upsets me just a little bit. I do have some heirlooms and an XP aura for my Chronomancer, so getting that class up to max level should take a lot less time. Hopefully. I make no promises, because sometimes things don't work out very well. So I'm going to add this in towards the end before I get to the ending part of my video, because I forgot to talk about it. We're going to talk real quickly about the rotations for each of the specs. Because I forgot to talk about that. Because I'm dumb. We're going to start with Defiance. With Defiance, you want to always be using your Shield Gore whenever it's off cooldown. Use Sever to keep your rage up. Use your Burning Rage and Sever to keep your rage up. Use your Unleashed Pestilence, which should be on War, whenever you start getting low health. Once you have up to 6 stacks of Demon Fire, use either Implosion or Flames of Xoroth. If you're in AoE, if you're in single target, use Implosion even if you're in single target or AoE. But Flames of Xoroth for AoE, Skull Taker for single target. When you're doing AoE pulls, spam Meat Saw to just deal AoE damage. Get 6 stacks, pop Implosion, 6 stacks, Flames of Xoroth or Skull Taker, and every time this comes off cooldown, just use it at 6 stacks to keep your imps up. Use your Curse of Xoroth on bosses, followed up with a Shield Gore to get your Absorb Shield. Sacrificial Circle is your panic heal if your health starts dipping dangerously low. Pop that full health. Use call imps, your call ability here to summon more imps. Use your Suffuse and Juggernaut in tandem with each other to increase their effectiveness. Use Flesh Hook and Chains of Malice to pull casters closer if you're not line of sighting them. Demon Heart after you use, Melt or Suffuse or Hellrider. or to use it to get those up after you use one of your other generators, your other spenders down here. Pretty much, it's a spank and tank rotation. For Hellfire, because I'm going to do these in reverse order, pretty much the same thing. Use your Sever to generate rage. Use your Seeking Flames for single target. At 6 stacks, make sure you use your either your Skull Taker or Flames of Xoroth. On bosses, use Hellmaw for the extra tick damage. Make sure your imp is up, because your imp will die fairly often because in AoE situations. I forgot to talk about that. Your Hellfire imp dies very quickly if you're not paying attention to it, so make sure it's always alive. You have an ability called Recall Imp, which will bring it back to life. Otherwise, you'll just have to resummon it. Again, off cooldown, use Doom and Hellfire form for extra damage. How the defensive works is the exact same way. Same thing for, Unleash Pestilence, Demon Heart, and Burning Rage, and all these, just the exact same concept. Use them as they're needed. And last but not least, for War, which is actually the more intensive one, you'll want to, at the start of combat, especially with AoE pulls or single target pulls, use your Brimstone Bludgeon for the initial damage, followed up by the free Infernal Strike to have 3 Demon Fire, Gore, and then use Meat Saw or Infernal Strike again for 6 stacks, for the full 6 stacks. Spend it on your Burning Blade if you didn't preemptively use your Burning Blade with Demon Heart. If you did use Demon Heart with Burning Blade and then you get to 6 stacks, hit Skull Taker, pop a Warbringer, and just unleash a massive wave of AoE damage. And then pretty much after that, alternate between Sever and Infernal Strike and Gore for single target, or you just spam Meat Saws and AoE, and then off cooldown Skull Taker for single target, Warbringer for AoE. Use Brimstone Bludgeon off cooldown. Make sure whenever you have a chance and you see Burning Blade off cooldown at 6 stacks, re-up Demon Fire. And while you're using your 6, even when using your Demon Fire, Burning Blade, Melt, anything that spends Demon Fire, even if it's not an attack, will cause a Unleash Pestilence around you. So don't be afraid to use these when they come off cooldown. Always be using your Demon Fire off cooldown because you generate it really quickly. When your Infernal Strike turns into Annihilation, use it. Doesn't matter if it's AoE or single target, use it. Because it'll give you full 6 stacks, followed up with a Skull Taker or a Warbringer, or use one of these if you've got either of those are on cooldown. And then just, slap everything around you. Burning Rage, Suffuse, Hellrider, Black Shield, Juggernaut, all use these the exact same way. Melt. Use Melt only on tanks, because otherwise everything else dies too quickly. On tanks, on bosses, because everything else dies too quickly. Use your chains to drag casters towards the tank, or drag mobs that get away from the tank back towards the tank so we can aggro them. It definitely helps. Don't be afraid to alternate between Pestilence of War and Pestilence of Death. Use Pestilence of War if you're taking too much damage, and then once you're back to full health and the healer's got things under control again, switch back to Pestilence of Death for just a flat damage increase. If you have enjoyed listening to me rant and rave and try to sound intelligent for the last half an hour or more, please feel free to leave a like or a comment. Like lets me know you all want to see more than a comment helps with the algorithm, and I also enjoy responding to comments. If I got any information wrong or explained something wrong, by all means, feel free to correct me in the comments. Just don't be an ass about it. I am not afraid to read constructive criticism. I am not that far up my own ass. I really do not have an ego. Don't take everything I've said about this class as gospel. There are many players better than me at this damn game. I will wholeheartedly admit that. I am just speaking from my experience as a pseudo-casual. God, look at the amount of people here. After I get Cartomancer to level 30, I will probably put out a poll for which class people want to see next. I will probably not do a class I already have a video out on. I will more than likely put out classes that I haven't done, just so I get a chance to play them. But with all of that said, I hope to see you guys all again in the next one. Bye-bye.